You have been walking a path that few understand. You have endured seasons of testing, moments of uncertainty, and days when it seemed like the promise was delayed. But hear this truth. Tonight, it all changes. Tonight is the moment when the doors swing open, when the weight you have carried transforms into the wings that will lift you. You have not been forgotten. You have not been overlooked. The trials were not in vain. Every struggle you faced was shaping you, refining you, preparing you for what is about to happen. The long nights of prayer, the silent tears, the battles in the unseen realm. None of it was wasted. You have been tested in the fire, but the fire did not destroy you. It purified you. The delay was never denial. It was divine alignment. The chosen ones are not those who are exempt from struggle, but those who rise despite it. You were chosen before time began, set apart for a purpose greater than you imagined. Every rejection, every closed door, every moment of pain was orchestrating your elevation. The ones who counted you out will be the ones who witness your breakthrough. The ones who doubted your journey will be the ones who testify of your transformation. There are moments in life when it feels as if you have been overlooked, as if the world has moved on while you remain in a season of waiting. The silence can feel deafening, the delay discouraging, and the unanswered prayers unsettling. You have watched others step into their breakthroughs, receive their promotions, and walk into their destiny while you have been standing in the same place, wondering when your time will come. You have questioned whether you were forgotten, whether your efforts were in vain, and whether the promise spoken over your life was even real. But what you must understand is that divine timing is never rushed. You were never abandoned, never dismissed, never ignored. In the unseen realm, a work was being done in you that required patience, endurance, and faith. The process you have been going through has been designed not to punish you, but to prepare you. Every delay had a purpose. Every setback was a setup for a greater revelation. What seemed like silence was actually strategy. The waiting period was never wasted. It was in those moments that you were being strengthened. Your character was being refined. Your faith was being deepened. And your spirit was being fortified. The weight of the calling on your life required a foundation strong enough to sustain it. If you had been given the blessing too soon, you would not have been ready to carry it. If the doors had opened prematurely, you might have walked through them without the wisdom needed to stay in the room. There were things you had to unlearn. There were habits that needed breaking, mindsets that needed shifting, and wounds that needed healing. Had you been promoted before the process was complete, the very thing meant to bless you could have crushed you. The waiting was not punishment. It was protection. You have been kept in a season of preparation because what is coming is greater than what you imagined. The silence was never an indication of abandonment. It was a space for growth, a place where your faith was being tested and your endurance being developed. You may not have seen visible signs of progress, but deep within, transformation was happening. The roots were growing even though the branches seemed still. The foundation was being strengthened even when there was no visible structure rising above the surface. Think of those who build great buildings. Before a structure reaches the sky, its foundation must be dug deep into the ground. The taller the building, the deeper the foundation. While others around you may have seemed to rise quickly, your process required depth. What you are carrying demands a firm foundation, one that cannot be shaken when the storms come. Had you been rushed through the process, you might not have been able to sustain what is about to be given to you. The doors that seemed closed were not rejecting you. They were reserving something greater for you. Every opportunity that did not come your way was not a loss, but a redirection. Every person who walked away, every connection that didn't last, every situation that seemed unfair was orchestrating your positioning. You were not forgotten. You were being positioned for something beyond what you could see. There is a divine orchestration at work, moving pieces into place, aligning people and preparing circumstances to bring you into the fullness of what has been promised. While you have been waiting, the right doors have been preparing to open. The right people have been getting into position. The right opportunities have been forming, all in alignment with the purpose over your life. The very things that made you question whether you were forgotten were the indicators that you were in the process of preparation. The silence was not a void, but a space for transformation. The delay was not denial, but alignment. The waiting was never wasted. It was the foundation being laid for what is about to come. The testing you have endured was never meant to break you, but to build you. Every challenge, every setback, and every obstacle was a necessary part of your journey. There were seasons when you felt like you were being stretched beyond your limits, when the weight of what you carried felt too heavy to bear. You wondered why things were so difficult, why every step forward seemed to come with resistance, why the road you were walking seemed longer and harder than it was for others. But what you may not have realized in the moment was that the fire was refining you. The pressing was producing something greater within you. Diamonds do not form without immense pressure. Gold is not purified without intense heat. And strong foundations are not built without deep excavation. What you have faced was not designed to destroy you, but to remove what was unnecessary, to strip away what could not go with you into your next season, and to mold you into the person capable of carrying the promise. Strength is not developed in comfort. Endurance is not built in ease. You were placed in situations that required you to dig deeper, to push harder, to stand firm when everything around you tried to shake you. The testing was a process of preparation. You were being trained for what was ahead, stretched beyond what was familiar, and positioned for something greater. It was never about what you lost along the way. It was about what you gained in the process. At times, you may have questioned whether you had the strength to keep going. You may have considered giving up, walking away, or settling for less than what was promised to you. But something deep inside you refused to let go. Even in the hardest moments, there was a fire within you that would not be extinguished. That fire was proof that you were built for more, that you were destined for something beyond what you could see, and that the process was shaping you into someone unshakable. You were tested in your faith, tested in your patience, tested in your resilience. The moments of waiting, of uncertainty, of struggle were all designed to reveal what was inside of you. A tree's strength is not measured when the weather is calm. It is revealed when the storm comes. Likewise, your strength was uncovered in the moments that tried to break you. What was inside of you was always there, but it needed the right conditions to emerge. Nothing great is ever built without a process. Every leader, every visionary, every person who has ever stepped into their calling had to go through seasons of refining. The process is necessary because it ensures that when you step into your purpose, you will not be shaken. It guarantees that when the weight of responsibility comes, you will not crumble. The process was not punishment, it was preparation. You were being prepared for a level that required strength beyond what you started with. The things you faced developed qualities in you that could not have been formed any other way. Patience was developed in the waiting. Wisdom was developed in the trials. Strength was built in the struggle. Everything you went through was shaping you into the person who is now ready to walk into the next season. There were moments when it felt unfair, when you wondered why others seemed to move forward while you remained in the fire. But comparison was never the measure of your process. Your journey was different because your purpose is different. You were not called to ordinary things, so your path could never be ordinary. The refining process was necessary to remove what would not serve you, to strengthen what was weak, and to elevate what was meant to grow. Through every test, you were becoming who you were meant to be. Through every hardship, you were being shaped for the responsibility that is ahead. The weight of what you will carry requires the strength you have developed. The challenges you overcame were not roadblocks, they were stepping stones. The process was proof that you were chosen, that you were called, and that you were meant for more. Waiting is one of the most difficult seasons to endure. It stretches your faith, tests your patience, and challenges your understanding of timing. You have prayed, prepared, and positioned yourself, yet the door has remained closed. The vision in your heart has not yet manifested, and you have wrestled with the tension between expectation and delay. You have wondered why the answer has not come, why the breakthrough has not arrived, and why the promise seems distant. But delay is not denial. Just because it has not happened yet does not mean it will not happen. There is a process unfolding behind the scenes, a divine orchestration that is working in ways you cannot yet see. Timing is everything, and what is being prepared for you requires the right moment. If you receive something too soon before the necessary pieces are in place, you may not be ready to handle it. The right thing at the wrong time can become a burden rather than a blessing. Every moment of waiting is an opportunity for growth. The season of delay is a time of refining, a time of development, and a time of preparation. There are things that need to mature in you before you can step fully into what has been promised. Wisdom, patience, discernment, and endurance are all forged in the waiting. It's in this season that you learn to trust beyond what you can see, to believe beyond what you understand, and to remain steadfast even when nothing seems to be changing. There is a reason why things have not moved as quickly as you expected. You are not being denied, you are being positioned. The delay is working in your favor, aligning things in ways that will ensure your success. The opportunity that is coming requires the right connections, the right circumstances, and the right environment. If you were to step into it too soon, you might miss the full impact of what is meant for you. The waiting is not wasted, it is strategic. Look back at the moments in your life when you thought something should have happened, only to later realize that the timing was not right. There were doors you wanted to walk through, relationships you thought would last, opportunities you believed were yours. Yet in hindsight, you can see that what seemed like rejection was actually redirection. The things that did not happen were protecting you from something that was not aligned with your destiny. It is easy to grow frustrated in the waiting, to feel as though time is slipping away, and to believe that you are falling behind. But what is meant for you cannot be taken from you. No opportunity that belongs to you will pass you by. What has been set aside for you is yours, and nothing and no one can take it away. When the appointed time comes, everything will align effortlessly. The doors will open, the right people will appear, and the path will be made clear. The delay is shaping you into the person who will be able to sustain the promise. Without this process, you might step into the next season unprepared, lacking the wisdom, strength, or discipline necessary to carry the responsibility that comes with it. The waiting is producing something in you that success alone could never teach. It is teaching you how to stand firm, how to trust even when the evidence is not visible, and how to remain faithful even when the promise seems distant. There's nothing wasted in this journey. Every day that passes is bringing you closer to the appointed time. What looks like stagnation is actually acceleration in disguise. The roots are growing deeper, the foundation is being strengthened, and the necessary preparations are being made. You may not see it yet, but things are shifting. Doors are being prepared to open. Opportunities are aligning, and what you have been waiting for is being positioned to arrive at the perfect moment. The delay is not denial. It is preparation, protection, and positioning. The timing is intentional. The process is necessary, and the outcome will be far greater than what you imagined. The promise still stands, the vision is still alive, and what is meant for you is still on its way. Something is shifting. You can feel it in your spirit. The resistance you once faced is beginning to weaken, and the obstacles that seemed immovable are losing their power. What once felt like an endless battle is now turning in your favor. The delays, the disappointments, and the closed doors were not signs of rejection, but of preparation. You have endured the refining process, and now the atmosphere is changing. The things that seem far away are now within reach. The prayers that once felt unanswered are beginning to manifest. The shift is happening, and you are stepping into the fulfillment of what was promised. There were times when it seemed like nothing was working. You pushed forward only to be met with resistance. You tried to move ahead only to find yourself at another roadblock, but what you did not see was that every moment of waiting, every delay, and every challenge was positioning you for the right moment. You were being stretched, tested, and refined because the weight of what you are about to step into requires a new level of strength. The shift is not just happening around you, it has been happening within you. Everything that was working against you is now working for you. The pressure you endured was never meant to destroy you, but to prepare you. The struggles you faced were never meant to break you, but to build you. The setbacks were never meant to discourage you, but to strengthen your faith. Every single moment was a part of the divine process, shaping you into the person who could carry the vision and sustain the blessing. The shift is happening, but it is not random. It is strategic. It is happening because you endured. It is happening because you did not give up when you had every reason to walk away. It is happening because you remained faithful even when nothing made sense. You kept believing even when there was no evidence. You kept praying even when you felt weary. You kept moving forward even when the road seemed unclear. That level of endurance, that kind of perseverance is what has brought you to this moment. There is a time for waiting and there is a time for movement. You have been in a season of preparation, but now you are stepping into a season of acceleration. The shift is happening quickly. What once took years will now take months. What once took months will now take weeks. What was once delayed is now being released. The doors that refused to open are now swinging wide. The favor that seemed out of reach is now chasing you down. You will look back at this moment and realize that everything had to happen exactly as it did. The timing, the process, the struggles, all of it was necessary. If things had happened sooner, you would not have been ready. If certain doors had opened too early, you would have walked into them unprepared. The wisdom, resilience, and strength you have now were developed through the very struggles you wished you could have avoided. But now, everything is aligning. The season of frustration is turning into a season of fulfillment. The prayers you whispered in private are about to become testimony spoken in public. Nothing can stop what has been set in motion. The shift is happening whether people believe it or not. The change is taking place whether others see it or not. The transformation has already begun, and now the manifestation is about to be visible. You are not who you used to be. You do not think the way you used to think. You do not operate the way you used to operate. The waiting changed you, strengthened you, and elevated you. You are no longer in the same position. And you will never go back to the place you once were. The shift is happening now. The atmosphere is different. The weight you carried is lifting. The things that once held you back are losing their grip. What you have been believing for is being released. What once seemed impossible is now inevitable. The shift is here, and nothing can stop what has already begun. You have walked through seasons of uncertainty where others doubted you, overlooked you, and even counted you out. You have faced moments when it seemed as if your efforts were unnoticed, as if the work you put in had no reward. You have endured the whispers of those who assumed you would never rise, those who dismissed you because they could not see the fullness of what was inside you. But what they did not realize was that you were never dependent on their approval, never waiting for their validation, never needing their permission to step into your destiny. What they thought was your end was only your beginning. What they assumed was failure was actually preparation. The very people who wrote you off will soon witness what has been set in motion. Those who counted you out will see that you were never out. You were simply being positioned for something greater. It was never about proving them wrong, but about proving yourself faithful to the vision that was placed inside of you. There were moments when you could have given up, when the weight of the journey felt too heavy. You could have settled, compromised, or accepted the lesser version of what was meant for you. But something inside of you refused to quit. Something in your spirit kept pushing you forward, even when nothing seemed to be working in your favor. You stayed committed, stayed focused, and remained faithful, even when there was no visible reason to continue. That perseverance is why you are about to step into a level that no one saw coming. It is easy for people to doubt what they do not understand. It is easy for them to dismiss what they cannot see. But what they did not realize was that the process you endured was creating something undeniable. They judged you based on what was visible, but they did not see the depth of your preparation. They did not see the prayers, the sacrifices, the silent battles you fought behind the scenes. They did not see the refining, the strengthening, the endurance being built in the hidden places. Now everything is shifting. The season of being overlooked is ending. The same people who doubted you will witness what is about to unfold. Not because you need their acknowledgement, but because the work that has been happening in you cannot be ignored. The transformation that has taken place in your life will speak for itself. You will not have to explain yourself, prove yourself, or convince anyone. The evidence will be undeniable. When people counted you out, they did not realize that you were just in the process of becoming. They mistook your season of development for a season of defeat. They assumed that because you were quiet, you were stagnant. They assumed that because they did not see movement, nothing was happening. But the greatest transformations take place beneath the surface. The strongest foundations are built before the structure is ever seen. The roots grow deep before the tree ever reaches the sky. What they could not see was the strengthening that was happening beneath the surface. Everything they doubted will soon be undeniable. The very things they said you would never do will become the things they cannot ignore. The very places they thought you would never reach will become the places you will stand, not because you sought their approval, but because what was placed inside of you was always destined to manifest. The opinions of others never had the power to change what was already written about your life. There will be no need to seek recognition or validation. The work that has been done in you will be evident. The process you endured will speak for itself. The strength you have gained, the wisdom you have developed, the resilience you now carry. These are the things that cannot be denied. Those who once doubted will have no choice but to acknowledge that something greater was always working in your favor. The testimony of your journey will be undeniable. And the manifestation of your purpose will be something that no one can ignore. There is a moment when everything changes. A moment when the weight you have carried begins to lift. When the struggles you have endured start to make sense. You have walked through fire, through storms, through trials that tested every part of who you are. You have stood in the face of adversity, feeling the pressure of the journey, wondering when things would shift in your favor. But now, something is different. The atmosphere has changed. What once seemed impossible is now within reach. The doors that were closed are beginning to open. The things that once resisted you are now making way for you. Every challenge, every setback, every season of waiting was preparing you for this moment. The preparation was necessary because what is ahead of you is greater than anything you have seen before. The struggles did not come to stop you, but to strengthen you. The delays were not meant to discourage you, but to develop you. Every obstacle was a part of the process, ensuring that when you stepped into what was promised, you would be able to sustain it. There were times when you questioned whether you were on the right path, times when doubt tried to convince you that you had missed your moment. But nothing that belongs to you can be taken from you. No opportunity that is meant for you can pass you by. The waiting was never about denial. It was about timing. Things had to align. You had to grow. There were lessons that needed to be learned, experiences that needed to be gained, and wisdom that needed to be developed. Now the pieces are coming together. The things that once felt scattered are now forming a clear picture. The moments that once seemed disconnected now make sense. The pressure you endured has produced something greater inside of you. The strength you gained in the struggle, the patience you developed in the waiting, the wisdom you acquired in the trials, all of it was necessary. You are no longer the person you were when you started this journey. You have evolved, you have matured, you have been prepared for what is coming next. There is a divine acceleration happening, a shift that is moving you forward faster than you expected. The time that was lost is being restored. The opportunities that seemed delayed are now unfolding. What once seemed far away is now closer than ever. The things you thought would take years will happen in a fraction of the time. The breakthrough that once seemed impossible is now inevitable. The doors that refused to open before will open with ease. The favor that once seemed out of reach will now go before you. Everything is aligning. The struggles, the delays, the obstacles, they were never meant to stop you. They were part of the process that ensured you would be ready for what is next. The things you have been praying for, the dreams you have been holding on to, the vision that has been in your heart, they are all coming into fruition. The battles you fought in private will lead to victories seen in public. The sacrifices you made will not be in vain. The faith you held on to will be rewarded. The weight you carried in the past season will not follow you into this new one. The doubts, the fears, the insecurities, they no longer have a place where you are going. You have passed the test. You have endured the process. Now, you are stepping into what was always meant for you. The doors that were once locked are now opening. The opportunities that once seemed out of reach are now within your grasp. The things that once resisted you are now aligning in your favor. There is no need to force anything. The shift is happening naturally. The right people are coming. The right opportunities are aligning. The things that belong to you are making their way into your life. What you once had to chase will now come to you effortlessly. The season of striving is over, and the season of stepping into your purpose has begun. Everything you have been preparing for is now unfolding. What once seemed like a distant dream is now becoming your reality. The process has been completed, and now it is time for manifestation. Everything you have endured, every challenge you have faced, and every moment of waiting has led you to this point. The struggles were never meant to break you. They were meant to shape you, strengthen you, and prepare you for what is now unfolding. The delays were not denials, but divine positioning, ensuring that you would be ready to sustain the blessings that are about to be released. Now, the season of waiting is over. The doors that once seemed impossible to open are swinging wide before you. The favor that once felt distant is now resting upon you. The prayers you whispered in faith, the dreams you refused to give up on, the vision you carried even when no one else could see it, all of it is coming to pass. The shift has happened. The weight has lifted. You are stepping into a new season where what was once hidden will now be revealed, where what you labored for in private will now be celebrated in public. This is your moment. You have passed the test. The struggle was necessary, the process was essential, and the preparation was intentional. Now walk forward with confidence, knowing that everything is aligning for your good. The breakthrough is here. The manifestation is now. And nothing can stop what has already been set in motion.